This is Patricia Raskin Positive Living on News Talk 630, WPRO, and 99.7 FM. The program that brings you practical strategies and positive solutions to help you live the kind of life you really want. To speak with Patricia and her guest, call 438-WPRO or toll free at 1-800-321-WPRO. Now, here's Patricia Raskin.
Well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome. Welcome to Patricia Raskin Positive Living. I have a great guest on the radio and in the studio with me today. And I picked her because I thought she's so dynamic and positive. Her name is Paulette Costa, also known as PC McCullough. Paulette is a dynamic writer, speaker, and essential empowerment coach. She helps us understand ourselves, what drives us, what we love, and what we fear. Her writing and seminars are entertaining and inspirational with wit and down-to-earth approach, and she really inspires people to look at the brighter side of life. She is the author of the novel Perfect and contributing author to Vibrant Women's Wisdom, Surviving and Thriving Through Dark and Bright Hours, and the Gratitude Project, celebrating 365 years of gratitude. Welcome, Paulette.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Patricia. It's great to be here.
You know, and what's interesting about you, and you're a baby boomer, as I am.
I am.
You know, you have made many changes in your own life, and you're here to say, as I know, you can be happy, and you can start over, and you can make it happen at any age.
Exactly, and that's so true because, you know, people talk so much about reinventing ourselves in our midlife, as we call it. And when I was going through my process of change, a big change in my life several years ago, I didn't really realize what was happening. And when I look at it today and the point that I've arrived at now, it's more like I was kind of in a beaker on a slow simmer for so many years, and all of a sudden now my life is just beginning. So it wasn't really so much as reinvention as it was self-discovery.
Well, and self-discovery and self-acceptance.
Absolutely.
And I think what happens to a lot of people, both men and women, is we get to a certain point and we think, I'm too old, I'm too gray, I'm too fat, I'm too, whatever it is, I'm too something. And that's not necessarily true.
No. Well, the too something makes us feel like we're not enough.
That's right. Folks, we encourage you to call in always, and Paulette is taking your questions about anything you have to say or any concerns you have about fear of failure or about reinventing yourself or starting something new, or, maybe you're on that edge of being successful, but you're not quite where you want to be. And really do call us because Paulette can give you some advice and counsel as a coach. And she talks a lot in her workshops about 6 essential elements. What are they, Paulette?
Well, there are elements to what we're calling essential empowerment. Because this is not just empowerment in your life. This is the absolute delegation to yourself to get where you want to go. And, you know, we talk about goals a lot in life, but it's not just setting goals that makes us accomplish something. So when we talk about the 6 elements, the first thing we need to have is clarity. We can't try to change everything at once. So focus on something. Be clear on what you want to accomplish.
What if people say, you know, Paulette, I'm not sure. I don't know what I want. I'm not sure. I don't know what my mission is. There's a lot of things I like, but I'm not sure.
Well, then you pick one.
Okay.
Pick one, because you've got to start somewhere. My fiancé says all the time that a journey of 1,000,000 miles starts with the first step.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so true. Mm-hmm. So just focus on one thing at a time.
All right. And your second one, folks, remember you can call us 438-9776, 800-321-9776. Would love to hear from you with comments, questions for Paulette, and any comments. Go ahead,
Great.
Paulette.
So the second thing, the second essential element that we talk about is commitment. Because we can
Once you pick it, commit.
Right. We can say we want to do things. I want a lot of things in my life. I'm not necessarily committed to doing what it takes to get all of them. So be committed to it. Mm-hmm. And then the next thing is the confidence to make that change. Mm-hmm. Have confidence in yourself. And that's really one of the biggest things that I find.
And I think sometimes what happens there is that you have the confidence, but there's that little saboteur that says, no, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing it.
That little
voice. And even though the other voice is saying, I've got to do this, the other one is strong enough that it keeps you stuck.
Right. And then the next two, courage, conviction,
and wait a minute, Paulette. So how do we fix that little guy who's on our shoulder?
Well, by continuing to talk back to it. You've got to feed yourself positive. You've got to feed yourself positive messages. If you keep listening to the negativity in life, then you're going to accept negativity.
All right. Fourth one.
Conviction. Stick to your guns. And that's a hard one because... Particularly
when your friends and colleagues say, oh, now wait a minute, Paulette. You sure? You really think you can do that?
I can't tell you the number of times I've heard that in my life. Or people who I work with.
And many times those are people that would not do that.
It's not important to them.
Right. Or they can't imagine it.
Right.
So they can't imagine it for you.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. Or they'll say, do you have what it takes to make that happen? So you begin to doubt yourself.
Yes.
But no, don't. Have the courage to go on. And the
next one is courage.
Right, exactly. The next one is courage. Have the courage to follow through with what you really want to accomplish. You can do it. We're not changing the course of the world here. We're changing the course of your world.
And the last one.
Consistency. How many times have people gotten so close to doing something and then given up?
I want to share something in my own life here, and that is that sometimes when a lot of things are happening for me at once and my brain is on overload, it starts reflecting in my space at the house. So things get messy. The piles of papers, I'm putting the folders, and I look at it and I'm saying, oh, that's my brain. That's how I really don't like it. Well, sometimes what happens, I'll get stuck in that, and I look at it, and for some reason, Paulette, I can't pick up the folder and file it. It's like I get into this paralysis. And what I do? I get somebody to come in and help me. Because I know if someone is standing there, even if it's for an hour or two, it's like just pushing me to that edge. It's like having the trainer next to you.
That's right.
Where you'll do it if that person's there.
Right.
And we all need help.
Right, exactly.
And it could be a friend. It could be somebody you hire. But I'm learning that I know I don't like it. So, and I know I don't like it enough that I will act on it with confidence and conviction. But that little other voice, that little saboteur, is keeping me stuck and not picking up that piece of paper and filing it.
That's right. That's right.
But as long as I have, as you said, the confidence and conviction and courage, I can make it happen. Because I'm finding a way to help myself through that.
And sometimes it's the finding a way is getting someone to help you. We don't have to do it all ourselves.
And we often think we do.
Absolutely. We feel that if we don't do it ourselves, then we didn't accomplish it. But by surrounding ourselves with people who can help us get it done.
I've probably interviewed, 2,000-3,000 people, probably more than that, over many, many years, who talk about success and making their lives work. And if there's one key that I've come away with, it's very much the whole idea of finding the positive role model. Who is that person that's making it work? Who is that person who can guide you in a positive way?
Right.
And because if you don't have a role model, how can you do it?
Right. That's right. And also,
why I do the program. This is why I do this program.
Absolutely. Role models are so important, and they can be someone. I had a role model when I was 15 years old. I happened to. It's the funniest thing, and it's one of the turning points in my life, which we'll talk about turning points in a little while. But I remember watching Barbara Walters.
She was one of my favorites.
A long, long time ago, and she was on a show that was called Not for Women Only.
Yes,
and
I remember.
I come from a family of laborers. My mom was a sewing machine operator. Was a sewing machine operator. My dad was a laborer. I didn't know anything other than labor type jobs for women. And I stood and watched this woman on television, and I thought,
she was a pioneer.
I want to be like that. I'm going to accomplish more in my life. And my mom is she's one of my role models. She's accomplished amazing things, but she didn't know how to guide me to that part of my life. So I had to choose role models someone who I could look up to and aspire to be like. So I took the things my mom instilled in me, the values that she instilled in me, and I found role models and mentors to help me get where I wanted to go.
Yeah, we'd love to hear from you, 438-9776, 800-321-9776. Who are your role models? I mean, what are we saying today that is touching you? Or if you're sitting there saying to yourself, you know what, I'm discouraged. I've tried all that and it's not working. Give us a call. We'll give you a good pep talk here and some strategy and some skill. Now, you talk here, Paulette, again, 438-9776 or 800-321-9776. Now, you talk in your book and in your work about painting your new life canvas concept. Mm-hmm. So our lives are like a work of art. And you talk about fine brush strokes and bold colors and new images. What do you mean?
Well, I picture my life like a canvas with a painting on it. And it's not necessarily a painting of me and my life, but it's like something that depicts my life. And I remember talking to someone one day, and I said, our lives are like a canvas, a painting. And she said, well, mine's black and white. And I said, really? I said, is that what you want? Do you want a black and white life? She said, no, I need color in my life. I need change in my life. And that's what I mean when I talk about painting your life canvas. When you look at your life through your mind's eye and you see your life on a canvas, are you happy with that life?
However, some people are afraid to put the color in because it's new and it's different and it's changed. We're all afraid of change.
Absolutely.
See, we're all, because it's not what we know.
That's right.
You are in the unknown, and there is a risk involved.
Oh, risk is the biggest part of fear.
And that is really what the change is about, and what all change is about. Want to let folks know about all your wonderful books. Now, this book you wrote, this is an adorable little book. If you're on the webcam with us today, which is 630wpro.com, Paulette has written a little book called Balancing Thoughts, and it's really a terrific book. It is what it is. I love that. What you don't have is no good.
My grandmother's favorite saying.
I love that. Buy the best and cry once.
It's the truth.
I love it.
And it doesn't matter what you're buying. Buy the best life. Take those risks.
Love is a 4-letter word anyone can say. A person as they are is the person who they are. Don't let anyone should on you.
Oh, yes.
These are great.
Yes.
Now, if people write to you, maybe you can send them some of these?
Oh, absolutely. I'd be more than happy to. I would be more
All
than
right,
happy
so
to.
folks, if you write to Paulette Costa and say you heard these wonderful sayings in this adorable little book, Balancing Thoughts, she'll send you some of the quotes that are in this little book.
Absolutely.
All right,
I'd be happy to do that.
Okay, and how do people find you?
People can contact me. They can go to my website, newlifeessentials.com.
Newlifeessentials.com.
Right, and or they can just write to me at newlifeessentialsllc@gmail.com.
All right, if they don't remember that, let's go to newlifeessentials.com. Now, if you forget all that, I think here's one you will remember. Patricia@patriciaraskin.com. And say, I heard this great lady, Paulette, and she had this little book, terrific thoughts, and I'd like some of those thoughts. And she will write to you. Paulette is also the contributing author to Vibrant Women's Wisdom, Surviving and Thriving Through Dark and Bright Hours, and she's written a terrific novel called Perfect. And it's all about someone who struggles to save a 20-plus year marriage and finds herself single for the first time in her life, and she makes it happen.
She does, and people have asked me if that was a memoir. And it's interesting because I finally got to the point where I could say it's fiction based on real life, but it's certainly not a memoir.
All right, and we have a terrific call. Louise from Windsor, Connecticut, your question for Paulette, and thanks for calling, Louise. Hi.
Dear Paulette, I'd like to know when we're afraid to take that first step, we're putting some self-imposed barriers up in front of ourselves. how do we knock down those barriers and give ourselves the courage to take that first step?
All right, and you know what? Hold that thought. We're going to answer that question, Louise, right after the break. Okay, so just stay with us for the next couple of minutes. And I hope you didn't lose power in Windsor, Connecticut. All right, stay tuned with us. We'll be right back. You're listening to Patricia Raskin, Positive Living, right here on News Talk 630 WPRO and 99.7 FM, and we are on the web at 630WPRO.com. We'll be right back with Louise's question and with Paulette Costa, our guest. Stay tuned, folks. Hi, everyone. We are back. You are listening to Patricia Raskin, Positive Living, right here on News Talk 630 WPRO and 99.7 FM. We're on the web at 630WPRO.com. We're in our new day, Saturday from 3 to 5. I'm so excited. Louise is on the phone with us from Windsor, Connecticut. And Louise, your question again. And I'm glad I know that they lost power in Connecticut. So you said you just got back from vacation and you came back to a cold house. Are you there, Louise?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. All right. So I know you're warm now from your cold house, but your question again for Paulette, because we only have a couple minutes.
My question is, when we're finding ourselves erecting barriers or not feeling the courage to take the first step, how do we kind of break down those barriers?
Very good question. Go ahead.
One of the things that I talk about a lot, Louise, is journaling. Writing your thoughts down. You know, sometimes when we write our fears, we're able to face our fears. So, you know, that's just a quick little thought on one of the things that you can do. There are so many different other things as well. But I have always found that, number one, take small steps. Talk yourself through it. You know, that positive self-talk is so important to taking that first step.
All right, and also, if you leave your email address with Mike, then Paulette can or you can write to Paulette.
Right.
Either one, and
right.
She'll be able to continue this conversation with you, Louise.
And thank you so much for calling.
Are you there?
Thank you.
Okay, yes, leave your email or email, certainly email Paulette. All right, the news is up next, and we are right here on News Talk 630 WPRO and 99.7 FM.